Some places are so dangerous and mysterious that no one is allowed to enter, from ancient ruins lost in time to deadly zones where life can't survive. These forbidden locations are off limits for chilling reasons. Join me, if you dare. Lascaux Caves, France. In September 1940, an 18-year-old boy was walking his dog through the peaceful countryside near the town of Montignac, France. Suddenly, his dog vanished. It had fallen into a deep, dark hole. When he and his friends went to investigate, they thought they'd discovered a secret tunnel leading to an abandoned manor. But what they actually found was a world buried for tens of thousands of years, a place filled with ancient, haunting mysteries. They had stumbled upon the Lascaux Caves, an underground maze spanning more than 75 acres, covered in over 600 massive prehistoric paintings, depictions of wild animals, ancient plants, and cryptic symbols that have yet to be fully decoded. Some of the artwork is believed to be more than 17,000 years old, created by humans who lived in darkness millennia before civilization as we know it even existed. By 1948, the caves were open to the public, but modern curiosity came with a deadly cost. More than 1,200 visitors entered the caves each day, exhaling carbon dioxide, bringing in heat, moisture, and bacteria. It didn't take long before the damage began. The paintings started to rot, and mold and lichen spread across the cave walls like a long-buried curse reawakening. In 1963, the caves were permanently closed. Today, only a handful of scientists are allowed inside, and even they must wear full protective gear, as if entering a biohazard zone. For the rest of us, the only way to witness Lascaux's haunting beauty is through replicas or virtual reality, because the real cave has become a forbidden place where time, art, and decay silently coexist in chilling stillness. The Grand Shrine of Ise, Japan, a sacred place no one may enter. In a country home to over 80,000 Shinto shrines, where people freely come to pray and find spiritual peace, there exists one shrine so sacred, so untouchable, that almost no one is ever allowed inside. This is the Grand Shrine of Ise, the most revered Shinto site in Japan, dedicated to Amaterasu, the sun goddess and mythical ancestor of the imperial family. What makes it even more extraordinary is how it's built, using ancient Japanese woodworking techniques without a single nail. And in line with Shinto beliefs about death and rebirth, the entire shrine is torn down and rebuilt every 20 years, a ritual that has continued for over 2,000 years. The last reconstruction was completed in 2013. But here's where things get truly mysterious. Only high-ranking Shinto priests and members of the imperial family are allowed to step inside. For everyone else, the closest they can get is a glimpse of the outer buildings through wooden fences. Still, visitors are welcome to explore the serene surroundings, sacred forests, stone paths, and tranquil bridges that date back over 150 years. The air feels different here, as if time itself slows down in respect. The Grand Shrine of Ise isn't just a place, it's a world apart, where only the chosen may enter, and the rest of us are left to wonder what secrets lie beyond the gates. Morgan Island, United States, the Forbidden Monkey Island. Off the coast of South Carolina lies a remote and eerie landmass spanning over 4,400 acres. Its name? Morgan Island, but most people know it by its far more ominous nickname, Monkey Island. Since 1979, this island has been strictly off-limits to all visitors, not because of natural disasters or hostile wildlife, but because it's home to over 3,500 free-ranging rhesus monkeys, carriers of a deadly threat, herpes B virus. While harmless to the monkeys themselves, the virus can be lethal to humans, with fatal infections occurring if not treated immediately. Originally, these monkeys lived at a research facility in Puerto Rico, but a dangerous outbreak forced authorities to relocate the entire colony to Morgan Island, chosen specifically for its complete isolation from the public. The island became a living lab, a place where science could continue without risking a global outbreak. Now managed by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, the monkeys are monitored from afar. They're fed using automated systems, and human contact is nearly non-existent. Only a handful of researchers are ever granted permission to step foot on the island, and even they must undergo strict quarantine protocols upon return, as if leaving a viral hot zone. No tourists, no boats, no exceptions. Just a silent island echoing with the calls of wild monkeys, and the knowledge that one wrong step could unleash something deadly. Morgan Island is not just forbidden, it's quarantined from the world for a reason. Uluru, Australia, the cursed sacred rock. Rising from the scorched red sands of Australia's Northern Territory stands Uluru, a massive sandstone monolith towering 1,142 feet, 348 meters, into the sky. Known for decades as Ayers Rock, it's one of the country's most iconic natural landmarks. But Uluru is far more than just a tourist attraction. To the Anangu people, it is a sacred site, pulsing with ancient spiritual energy. In the 1930s, Uluru became a hotspot for adventure seekers. Tourists began climbing to the top, posing for photos, drinking alcohol, and in some shocking cases, stripping naked on its summit. The result? Not just physical damage to the fragile rock surface, but a deep spiritual wound to the indigenous custodians of the land. And then came the stories. Travelers reported feeling watched, losing their way, or being plagued by a string of bad luck after taking rocks from the site. Some even mailed the stones back, begging for forgiveness. According to Anangu legends, powerful ancestral spirits dwell within Uluru, and those who disrespect it may face consequences far beyond what the eye can see. In 2017, after years of pressure from the indigenous community and countless incidents of disrespect, authorities voted unanimously to ban climbing Uluru. The law officially took effect in October 2019. Today, Uluru is off-limits. You may admire it from a distance, walk the surrounding trails, and learn its stories, but you may not climb it. Even photos taken from certain angles are forbidden, in accordance with sacred traditions. Google Earth and other platforms have removed such images as a sign of respect. Uluru is not just a rock. It's a living legend, a spiritual force, and a reminder that some places aren't meant to be conquered, only revered in silence. Number 9. North Sentinel Island, the deadly forbidden zone in the Bay of Bengal. Hidden deep within the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island is part of India's Andaman archipelago. While other islands welcome tourists with white sandy beaches and swaying palm trees, North Sentinel is infamous as a death zone, a place where anyone who dares to set foot may never return alive. This is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth who have lived in total isolation for thousands of years. To them, every outsider is an invader, and any attempt to approach their land is met with deadly force. History tells chilling stories. In 2006, 2 fishermen who accidentally drifted onto the island were killed instantly on the beach. In 2018, an American missionary tried to make contact, but he was slain within hours. To prevent further bloodshed, the Indian government enforces a strict 5 nautical mile exclusion zone, patrolled day and night by the Indian Navy. Crossing that invisible boundary is essentially a gamble with death. North Sentinel remains a mystery frozen in time, a prehistoric world untouched by modern civilization. And for those who dare to intrude, there is only one inevitable fate. Pravchitska Brana, the dying wonder of the Czech Republic. Hidden deep within the breathtaking region of Bohemian Switzerland in northwestern Czech Republic lies Pravchitska Brana, the largest natural sandstone arch in Europe. Towering at 52 feet high, stretching 26 feet wide, and spanning an incredible 87 feet, this natural wonder was once the crown jewel of Czech tourism, luring thousands of travelers who dreamed of walking across its legendary arch. But its fame came at a terrible cost. Every single footstep was like a blade cutting into the arch's fragile body, speeding up its erosion. Experts soon realized the horrifying truth. One day, the entire structure could collapse without warning, potentially burying scores of visitors beneath tons of falling rock. To prevent this looming disaster, in 1982, the government issued a total ban. No one was allowed to set foot on the arch ever again. Since then, tourists have been forced to admire Pravchitska Brana only from a distance, as if gazing at a sealed treasure they can never touch. The ban has slowed the erosion, but nature cannot be stopped. The arch is still crumbling, inch by inch. One day, it will fall forever, and no one knows when that final moment will come. Poveglia, the cursed island of death in Italy. In the serene Venetian lagoon of northern Italy, where the romantic city of Venice stretches across 118 small islands connected by more than 400 bridges, lies a place so horrifying that locals whisper its name in fear. Poveglia, known to many as the gateway to hell. At first glance, it's just an abandoned island, but its blood-soaked past tells a far darker story. Once inhabited, Poveglia was abandoned in 1379 when war forced its residents to flee, leaving the island to rot in silence for nearly 400 years. Then, in 1776, the island was turned into a quarantine station of death. Venice was thriving as a trade hub, but plague and other deadly diseases spread like wildfire. Anyone showing the slightest symptoms was dragged to Poveglia, not to be cured, but to die in isolation. The bodies of the infected were burned in massive pyres, and it's said that over half the island's soil is now made of human ash. But the horror didn't end there. In 1922, Poveglia became a mental asylum, a place infamous for barbaric medical experiments. Patients were tortured under the guise of treatment, their screams echoing across the lagoon at night. Many died in agony, and some believe their restless spirits still wander the island, crying out in eternal suffering. By 1968, Poveglia was abandoned for good, but its ghosts never left. Locals swear they still hear muffled cries and ghostly whispers drifting across the water after sunset. Today, Poveglia is considered one of the most haunted places on Earth. But the real reason the Italian government strictly forbids anyone from stepping foot there isn't just the ghosts. It's the fear that ancient, deadly diseases may still linger in the soil, waiting to escape and infect the modern world. Those who dare trespass risk not only huge legal penalties, but possibly their lives. Shrouded Island, Australia's tragic forbidden wilderness. Lost in the endless waters of the Indian Ocean, Shrouded Island is often called the forgotten land of Earth. Though it belongs to Australia, it lies so far away, 2,500 miles southwest of Perth and 2,600 miles southeast of South Africa, that it feels like a place exiled from the world, battered year-round by howling winds and violent seas. Together with the nearby McDonald Islands, Shrouded is home to Australia's only 2 active volcanoes. Towering above them all is Mawson Peak, the tallest mountain in the country at 9,006 feet, still rumbling with volcanic fire beneath a blanket of ice. The island is a surreal paradox. Rivers of molten rock hidden beneath 41 massive glaciers, a place both breathtakingly beautiful and terrifyingly hostile. Despite its volcanic origin, the island is made mostly of fragile limestone and scattered rock, creating an ecosystem so delicate that even a single human footprint could cause irreparable damage. For this reason, the Australian government has placed a strict ban on visitors. No one is allowed to set foot on this fragile land. But this isolation carries its own quiet tragedy. For thousands of years, Shrouded Island has stood alone, unseen, unheard, untouched, a sleeping giant, trapped in exile in the middle of a frozen sea. In fact, in the past 50 years, fewer expeditions have reached Shrouded than humans have walked on the moon. It remains a land of haunting beauty, a place destined to exist and die in silence. Snake Island, Brazil's island of death. Of all the deadly islands on Earth, none is as terrifying as Snake Island, Ilha de Queimada Grande. lying about 21 miles off the coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Brazilian Navy strictly patrols the area year-round, not to protect the island, but to keep people from walking straight into their own death sentence. This cursed island is home to the golden lancehead viper, one of the deadliest snakes in the world. Thousands of years ago, rising sea levels trapped a population of snakes here. Cut off from other prey, they were forced to hunt migratory birds. To survive, they evolved venom so potent it kills almost instantly. A single bite causes a bird to drop dead within seconds, falling right into the snake's waiting jaws. Today, the island is crawling with thousands of vipers. The density is nightmarish, roughly one snake for every square meter. They lurk in the grass, coil in the trees, even drop onto intruders from above. One bite is enough to kill a human in excruciating agony long before help could ever arrive. Snake Island is strictly forbidden to all visitors, a living green hell where every step, every breath could be your last, and setting foot on it is as good as signing your own death warrant. Surtsey Island, the forbidden mystery in the middle of the ocean. In November 1963, the southern seas of Iceland shook violently as a massive underwater volcanic eruption tore through the ocean floor. For nearly 4 years, the sea roared, lava boiled, and finally, a new land emerged from the depths, Surtsey Island, a place often described as Earth's very own natural laboratory. But no one is allowed to set foot there. Why? Because even a single footprint, a grain of sand carried from elsewhere, could destroy the pristine process of life formation that scientists are carefully observing. Surtsey is sealed off like an absolute forbidden zone, accessible only to a handful of strictly selected researchers. Here, nature is writing its own story from scratch. Bacteria, fungi, and molds were the first conquerors, clinging stubbornly to the cold, black lava rocks. Then, slowly, birds and tiny creatures arrived, forming an entirely new, untouched ecosystem. So far, scientists have recorded 89 bird species and 335 invertebrate species on the island, and the numbers keep growing. One day, the ocean may reclaim Surtsey, swallowing it back into the depths. But until then, it remains one of the world's most mysterious places, a land where life is reborn from nothing.